Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Mendel Center Connections. I'm Mike Nadolski, Executive Director of the Mendel Center. So glad to have you with us today. And also very happy to have with us Mike Garey, who is the mayor of St. Joseph and also one of the organizers, one of the key organizers of the Hidden History, Understanding the Origins of Racial Inequality, the three series, panel series that we've been doing here in the Twin Cities area. Hi, Mike.
Good afternoon, Mike, and how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for being with us today. I know we're going to focus in on this panel, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about the origins of it, how it came to be, and all its. But as the mayor of St. Joseph, from that perspective, maybe talk a little bit about its importance to our community too.
Well, the city commission, following the murder of Mr. Floyd up in Minneapolis, the city participated in the march from St. Joe into Ben Harbor. And then the following week, we issued our statement of our feelings of the incident, and also about our present conditions here within the Twin City area and our future. So part of that, out of that, I should say, came three citizens committees driven by residents of throughout the area. One based looking at public safety, the second one looking at arts and culture and bringing people together for a community project. And the third one that Dr. Tobin and I started up is the one we're speaking about now, called Hidden History. And we were talking about how do we allow people to move forward, understanding the past, really being able to take a deep dive into how we got here. And we came up with a Hidden History, and then working on the three panels to bring this topic to our community to help understand over the last 300 or 400 years that no one alive today put in place policies, legislation that has had such a negative impact on people in color throughout our country. So that's really the purpose of it. This next Tuesday will be our third panel, and then the committee will be taking the summer off and to evaluate the success that we've had, and then what other approaches will be necessary, will be requested by the participants, and how we continue to address this in a positive fashion.
Well, yeah, the next panel is on June 15th at 7 o'clock. It's free, and we will get you some information on how you can connect to that. But in this particular, one of the things, the first two panel discussions covered periods of time before this one. This one is the struggle for civil rights and beyond 1900s to present. And yes. All the experts, though, that have been brought in have obviously been very knowledgeable and have given us some great insights into things that are still impacting historic incidents, historic perspectives, and its impact on how we're operating today, whether we know it or not.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, that we need to move beyond this idea of frontal personal attack, that you're a racist, you're at fault. It's the education side that's so important to understand the privileges that have been put in place legally that has helped white Americans, has been a disadvantage to African Americans. And also, it's tough out there today where you have the idea of, I recognize what we have done, I recognize the bad things our country has done, we just need to move forward. And I was thinking about that, and that'd be like your spouse is a tragedy, your spouse has an affair. He or she comes to you and says, I admit my mistake, it was bad, but let's forget about that, let's move forward. There's no accountability to that. And that's a big part of this, is understanding the accountability. And then with that understanding, you'll have better knowledge, better tools on what needs to be adjusted for the several next generations. And that's what's exciting about these panels. I know there's been a lot of talk about the Tulsa massacre, which destroyed the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, but it also destroyed generations of wealth that those individuals in the Black Wall Street in Tulsa had built up and then was taken away for future generations. That is a big underlying fact that has needs to be put out there, that the generational wealth gap is the average white American, their family wealth is about $175,000. The average African American family is about $17,000. That is the Tulsa massacre, the lack of housing opportunities, education, all that builds up to that statistic that I just stated.
Hey, you mentioned the Tulsa race massacre, and Tim Madigan is one of the panelists who's coming in, and he has a new book out on the subject too, right?
Yes, he does. It's called The Burning, the Tulsa Race Riot of 1921. And he's been talking about this for a while. And it's one of those, those cases of our history that it happened, but really no one really talked about it until recently. Folks knew about it, but it was always, again, a hidden history of our country, which needs to be brought to light.
Yeah, and then some of the other panelists who are coming in, Randall Jelks.
Yep, University of Kansas, and we have Thomas Mucklitz. He's from DePaul University out there in Chicago. So based on the tremendous speakers that we've had in the first two panels, this last one around the time of the 100-year recognition of the Tulsa Massacre, I'm really looking forward to what these three panels bring to our community.
Yeah, and Brian Conybeare has been from ABC 57. He's been moderating the panelists, and he'll do this one as well. And there's a Q&A session. So it's via Zoom. And to get to participate in this, how do people go about finding their way to participate in the Zoom session?
Well, I've gone to your Lake Michigan College website, and I think that's been a great, that's where I've been able to sign in for these. I know I also can do a Spectrum Lakeland Health.
Yep.
And that's where I've gone to. I think many people have done that. Mike, do you have any other resources?
I think ABC 57 News has a link as well. So there's 3 different websites. So lakemichigancollege.edu or the mendelcenter.com, either one. And then you'll get a Zoom link, and it's a webinar. So there's a Q&A function at the bottom, so you can submit your questions. And we've had great participation, and we really want to keep this conversation going for sure.
Well, what I've been excited about really has been the Q&A session, the Q&A portion of these meetings. And again, Brian Conybeare has done a great job moderating that. But those questions are lengthy questions, they're insightful questions, and they're engaging. I know I give everyone credit, the 3 sponsors, really. You got Lake Michigan College has been tremendous on all of this. Spectrum Health Lakeland has been great. Without those two, this idea that came out of the city of St. Joseph with Dr. Tobin and myself never could have happened without the Lake Michigan College and Spectrum Health Lakeland. Thanks to all of you.
Well, thank you. Thanks to the city of St. Joseph for pulling this together. And anything that makes us a more unified, more compassionate, more understanding community is better for everybody. And I just encourage everybody who's listening and watching this, that they give this an opportunity, lean into your discomfort a little bit, and take the time. 7 o'clock, June 15th, 2021. Hidden History, Understanding the Origins of Racial Inequity, the Struggle for Civil Rights, and Beyond 1900s to Present. Mike Garey, thanks for joining us today. This has been Mendel Center Connections, and we hope to see you all at the next Hidden History panel discussion on June 15th. Take care now.
See you on June 15th. Thanks, Mike.